They say men are supposed to endure, to be patient, to give her time to heal, to understand, to grow. But here's the truth. Some women are not confused. They're just careless with your soul. And if you stay too long in her storm, you'll forget the shape of your peace. This isn't about bitterness. It's about boundaries. Because the moment you start explaining to someone why they should respect you, you've already stayed too long. These aren't minor flaws. These are red flags in lipstick. And no matter how good she looks, how sweet she sounds, or how much history you share, when a woman shows you these patterns, you leave. Not out of anger, out of self-respect. Let's begin. 1. She gaslights you into doubting yourself. Abuse doesn't always leave bruises. Sometimes it leaves questions. Unknown. It starts when she denies something you know happened. You say, "Didn't we agree on that?" She says, "No, you're making that up." You confront her gently, and she flips it. "Why are you so sensitive?" "I was just joking." You always twist things. And before long, you're not just questioning her. You're questioning your own reality. I remember a man who told me he used to journal conversations just to keep himself sane. He'd write down what she said, what he said, not out of obsession, but because her version always changed, always shifted, and made him feel like he was losing his mind. That's what gaslighting does. It erodes your trust in you, not through shouting, but through quiet reframing, emotional manipulation wrapped in sweetness. When a woman won't own her words, when she makes you feel guilty for noticing the shift in her tone, or crazy for remembering things she swears didn't happen, she's not confused. She's controlling the narrative. Leave before her version of the truth replaces your own. 2. She has no respect for your boundaries. You tell her what you need, and she treats it like a challenge. You say, "I need time to myself today." She shows up anyway. You ask her not to touch your phone. She grabs it when you're in the shower. You say you're not comfortable with how she speaks to her ex. She calls you insecure. A woman who doesn't respect your boundaries doesn't respect you. Because boundaries are the structure of your self-respect. And the woman who keeps crossing them is saying, "What you need doesn't matter as much as what I want." I knew a guy who said he'd get the silent treatment every time he stood his ground. She'd withdraw affection, weaponize guilt, act cold, until he apologized for drawing the line. That's not a relationship. That's emotional blackmail. And the longer you tolerate it, the more she learns that your peace is negotiable. But a woman who's worth building with, she honors your space, even if it frustrates her. Because real love doesn't test your boundaries. It respects the man who set them. 3. She always plays the victim. No matter what happens, she's always the one hurt, the one betrayed, the one who can't believe you'd do this to her. You bring up something that upset you, she cries. You explain how her behavior affected you, she flips it. Suddenly, it's about how she doesn't feel safe. She feels attacked. She is the one always trying, while you're being so harsh. It's exhausting, because you're always defending yourself, never seen, never heard, just caught in her loop of permanent victimhood. I remember a conversation with a man who said, "I couldn't even bring up my feelings without it becoming a court trial, and I was always the defendant." When a woman weaponizes her wounds, she's not healing. She's hiding behind them and using them to manipulate yours. If you're always apologizing, always bending, always explaining. And she's always the hurt one, no matter what she did. You're not in love. You're in a loop, and it won't stop until you walk out of it. 4. She disrespects your time. She's always late, cancels plans last minute, makes promises she forgets by morning. And every time she says, "Sorry, I was just busy," you feel yourself becoming a man who's constantly waiting. Time is respect. And when a woman keeps wasting yours, what she's really saying is, "You'll wait, because I know you won't leave." I once met a man who built his whole week around her schedule. She'd flake, change plans mid-text, and when he finally asked why, she said, "You're too available." I need space. Imagine that. He gave her his time, and she used it to judge him for giving it. If she keeps you in limbo, if she makes you an option while demanding to be a priority, that's not love. That's convenience. And you're not a placeholder. You're a man with purpose. Leave. Not because she wasted your time, but because you finally realized how valuable it is. 5. She stops trying. At first, she showed up. She made effort, dressed up for you, asked questions, surprised you with your favorite food, tried, not perfectly but intentionally. Then, she didn't. The replies got shorter, the voice less warm, the energy flat. No more, "How was your day?" No more, "I missed you." You bring it up and she says, "Why are you being so needy?" But this isn't about neediness. This is about reciprocity. Because when someone stops trying, what they're saying is, "You no longer inspire effort." And that's okay. You're not owed love. But you are owed honesty. If she's no longer building, she's already letting it die. Don't stay with someone who's given up and is hoping you won't notice. 6. She uses intimacy as a weapon. When love becomes conditional, it stops being love. Suddenly, every disagreement is followed by coldness. She withdraws, stops touching you, stops smiling. And not because she's hurt, but because she wants to control you through what she withholds. Affection becomes a currency, and she decides when you've earned it. A man once told me, "I started apologizing even when I wasn't wrong, just to feel her arms again." That's not connection. That's punishment. That's manipulation. A woman who loves you will talk. She'll cry. She'll confront. But she won't freeze you out to prove a point. Because intimacy isn't a trophy. It's a language. And once she starts using it like a leash, the relationship turns into a quiet war. One side always begging, the other always withholding. You don't beg to be touched. You don't earn back closeness. If it's used as leverage, it's not love. It's control dressed up as romance. And that's when you leave. 7. She publicly disrespects you. She rolls her eyes at you in front of your friends, talks down to you around strangers, corrects you like a child in restaurants, interrupts you when you speak, tells personal jokes at your expense, and laughs like it's nothing. But deep down, something shifts, and every time it happens, you shrink a little. You tell yourself, "She's just outspoken. She didn't mean it." But your gut knows better, because public disrespect is never random. It's rehearsed. It's a sign she no longer sees you as a man worth honoring. One man told me, "I realized I was the only one defending her when I wasn't around, but she never did the same for me in front of others." And here's the rule. If she disrespects you in public, she already lost respect for you in private. She just stopped hiding it. A woman who loves you might argue with you, but she protects your dignity in the presence of others. And if she won't even do that, you don't need to fix her. You need to free yourself. Know when to walk. This isn't about walking away at the first flaw. It's not about perfection. It's about patterns. Because a woman who keeps crossing your peace, testing your silence, and gambling with your dignity isn't struggling. She's showing you what she thinks you'll tolerate. And if you don't leave, she's right. Every red flag is a whisper from your future saying, "This is not the woman you build with." So be bold, not in anger, but in clarity. Leave when you must, not because you don't love her, but because you finally remembered how to love yourself. If this hit home, subscribe, not for views, but for the voice that reminds you what kind of man you were always meant to be. You're not alone in this.